Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Yosha. So now we're going to continue this discussion about Life After Lockup Season 2 with Meg, Michael, Sara, and Maria. This season took a twist with the Meg, Michael, Sara thing. It was already pretty crazy. The last season ended off with Michael at Megan's house in Fort Worth, Texas. And it opened up right there as well. So it looked like, Michael and Megan were going to try to work things out. He finally flew out there to see her. He met her dad. He met her friends. He was there trying to visit. And apparently he was just doing that amongst other things, okay? Michael was out there living his best life. The hotation was real, okay? He had the girls on his phone. He had the cash out popping, and we ended up seeing what he was really doing because of his wife, Sara. So with Michael, I'll say this. This season taught me how a person that is broken really thinks. He literally said, I have my main thing, but I keep my options open because it may not work out. So I feel like with everything that happened between him and Meg and his friend Rock, in his mind, he felt like he was justified in doing Meg dirty again because he thought that Rock and Megan had sex. So no matter what she said, no matter what he said, no matter what she said in front of both of them, it didn't matter to him. And the fact that she tried to go through his phone, again, a manipulative person, a narcissistic person is going to justify their horrible behaviors and say, well, she already being sneaky and she was a snake because she talked to my dude and that's my friend, that's off limits. Even though he was married and he lied to Megan, he acknowledges it, but he's not equating it to the same level of disrespect because he feels that Megan and Rock were both people that he were close to and they both connected with each other. What surprised me was the whole Maria situation. The fact that amongst everything that he had going on, he had a new relationship while he was still married to Sara, while he was still linked to Megan, and apparently other women as well, because we learned a lot about Sara and Sara's struggles. Sara spent a lot of the season crying to WETV about her experiences with Michael. She's been going to counseling for it. She's been trying to make Michael be a father by purchasing a phone for him, trying to, make it easy for him to come and spend time with the girls. And I think Michael basically bashes Sara a lot, makes it seem like she's trying to take the kids away. But the fact that he went 5 months without seeing them, but he's traveling to Texas to see Meg, he's traveling to Miami, he's traveling to New York, he's living his best life. And Sara is paying that phone bill. That phone would have been cut off after like month 2. I wouldn't have even offered to pay it because we're separated right now. I think initially I believe that Sara was trying to help keep the relationship open, but I think it was really a control thing. The fact that the phone was in her name means she can pull the phone records and see where he is and what he's doing. And that's exactly what she did. She kept tabs on him. And I wanted to believe Sara until she made the choice to sleep with him. When she made that choice to have sex with him, despite everything that happened thus far, it kind of made me feel like I was wrong about her and that she had moved on. She was making it seem like she moved on. She was just trying to parent with him, and that was it. But when she decided that she still wanted to sleep with him, it made me see that she still had feelings for him. But then it became very obvious that she did. When she went out with her friend, she kept talking about him. Even though it was supposed to be a girls' night. Even though some nice guy was pursuing her. She done got a little kissy kiss. I was like, okay, Sara, live your best single life. But as soon as Michael came into the picture, she got all clingy and crazy about it again. And the anger is still there. And you know what? Rain was very young. And everything was still very fresh. So I'm not going to judge her for not being over it. But I think the worst thing that somebody can do is pretend to be over someone when they're not. Because when they do things, it will trigger a fire in you of anger and frustration. And that's exactly what we saw in the season. When she pulled up to the hotel, ready to pull up on Michael and Maria because he didn't show up for Aviana. I honestly think that anger was not just because of Aviana, but also because she had gave him her body once again and he lied. Now, she had no reason to believe otherwise because his behavior had been inconsistent the whole time. But I think that the fact that she had just been intimate with him and he lied, it just triggered a fire of frustrations. I understand what it feels like to have an absent parent and really want to try to do everything you can to make it convenient, and they continue to live their best life, be worried about themselves, be worried about all their new girlfriends, and you're stuck as the custodial parent. As a mother and as a person that dealt with something similar, I can understand the pain that she went through, but you just have to move forward. You have to truck along and don't keep giving him the power by giving him your body, because he's too cocky about it. Like, before she even gave him the sex, he literally was saying out his mouth that if he said he wanted to be with her, she would say yes. And when a guy feels that way about you, they're going to take that to their advantage. So it's just easier said than done to just wash hands with it and move forward. Now, it was not really a season of Megan and Sara drama. I think they knew what it was. Megan was in denial as well because she loved Michael and she was trying to make it work. But I think that once she realized what it was, she decided to start focusing on herself. And I really commend her for that, because a lot of people gave Megan backlash during the second season of Love After Lockup because she continued to try to understand the situation and see how they could build. But you got to understand, when you're dealing with a manipulative person like Michael is basically playing the victim. He's saying that he's doing everything for the kids. He's not trying to be with Sara, but clearly he is just trying to do what is best for him. He even said, like, he has not moved forward with a divorce because he's concerned about the access to the kids. Sara, on the other hand, is asking him to go ahead and go forward with the divorce so she can move forward with her life. But he's delaying the process by not communicating and being consistent. And of course, the season ends off with Maria and him living in Miami. My thoughts about Maria is that she was a little naive and oblivious to the fact that he's still doing the same stuff. The fact that he was still talking to Megan, the fact that he still went to go see Megan the day after they were together that whole time. He was, doing his same stuff. And I think because she is trying to be his girlfriend so hard, she's pretending like she's okay with it, but it's clear that she's not okay with the lying, and he's still doing it. He's being open enough for her to feel comfortable, but he's still not keeping it 100%. And I think that his whole idea of a relationship is just having somebody, because he can't be by himself. Like, I still didn't understand his point of going to New York with his new girlfriend. And, like, it was shocking, I bet, for Sara as well. But it's a new Maria girl, and it's like, okay, I kept seeing that on the phone records, but it's like, you were in love with your queen, and now all of a sudden you got another one. So it's just, Michael, he has a lot of growing up to do, and he does need to be worried about a relationship. So I wish them all the best of luck. Next on my list is Andrea and Lamar. Andrea and Lamar are another couple that I rooted for. I just think that their dynamic was a little different. Both of them are older, and I felt like this season definitely brought a lot of clarity around their relationship. I always felt like there was something drawing them together, and the amount of time that they dated, 8 years is a long time. When they opened up the season with the confession that Priscilla was actually Lamar's daughter, it made perfect sense of why Andrea loved Lamar so much, why Lamar had been trying so hard, and why their bond was so thick. Like, they conceived their daughter while he was there, and they had been together for that time. And so that was kind of why their connection was the way it was. Lamar had spent some weeks in Utah trying to fix the relationship because he was off parole, and he wanted to fix the marriage. It was clear that they both wanted to fix the marriage, but Lamar is straight up himself, and he's himself unapologetically. I think that he really loves Andrea. He loves those kids, but he is not trying to change who he is. He loves his family. After being locked up for 18 years, he misses his family. So I think that once that Andrea began to understand that he, although is out of prison and confessed his love back then in prison does not mean that he is going to be the same as he was in prison. You know, people, when they go to jail, they need to not feel like they're being sheltered, like they're being controlled, like they're being dominated or like on leash, because they've already been incarcerated for however long. So when you are overbearing and controlling and you don't allow trust, that can really ruin the connection. And I think that that is part of what had happened. Also, the distance wasn't helping. She's in Utah, he's in California. There's no intimacy. It was also tearing on the relationship. And because Andrea was very dramatic and very, in her ways, she would assume things even though nothing was going on. Now, the whole condom situation being in the pocket, I do believe that Lamar did not cheat on Andrea in that instance. I really do think that they were the brothers' condoms. Like, there's no way that he could call him and, hey, say this. We saw it all on camera. So I don't think that he was cheating. I really do think that, that was just a misunderstanding. Andrea act like a typical upset woman. She went for it. Like, I see the non-Mormon things come out of her all the time. But I think that, the way they handled it and decided to move back, it was honestly going to be best. The kids, other than the son, seem to want to move back to California. There are more opportunities in California. And I think that the best thing for them would be if Andrea is uncomfortable in the ghetto area, as she likes to say, maybe they pick a little area that's not necessarily in the ghetto, a little bit further out, so that Lamar is still close enough to his family to see them, but far enough for Andrea to feel comfortable. What I'll say is Lamar never seemed to try to change Andrea. Andrea spent a lot of the time since they've been on TV trying to change him, and that is not healthy. We cannot change our partners. You have to learn your partner and meet them where they're at and grow together. So I'm happy to see that it worked out. The final couple that I'm going to talk about, and I should say like love triangle, is Lacey, Shane, and John. This relationship was a mess.com from the beginning, okay? Lacey is a manipulative woman. She's a beautiful woman. She's a model. I know that she be selling sex online. Let's just be clear, but we're going to call her a model. Her intentions for either guy have not been good from the beginning. She admitted to John that she started talking to Jane because she was lonely when he was locked up. I sincerely believe that that's the main truthful thing that she said this whole time. I think that she was upset because he was in there for so long. She got lonely. She got horny. She noticed that he was coming home first. She decided to pursue it. She wanted to get back at this man for the things that he's done over the years. They've been together since they were teens. She pissed at him. So she went and married this dude, this young guy, 22 years old, a lot of life left to live. He's all in. She loves it until she gets bored with it, okay? Not to mention all the sex she done made this man sell online. Not working. She modeling, making all the money, paying all the bills. Shane loved this woman. How would you feel if you're engaged? Y'all were engaged. You under the impression I'm coming home, we gonna get married. And then you show up with this new young guy like, oh yeah, we not getting married. And she acting all crazy. Basically, the same thing that she did to Shane this season is what she did to John last season. And I wouldn't be surprised that if her and John end up getting into it, she'll try to call Shane back over there. Now, Shane, you can see that he was a little immature because of his age. He was trying to be a better husband. He went and got a job. Then he confesses that he cheated on Lacey before they got married. Honestly, I hate to say it, but that would have been one that I took to the grave because Lacey didn't really want to be in the relationship anymore anyway. You could see that in her behavior before it got really bad. She was worried about John way too much. Right before they got married, she called John to kind of rub it in his face, I'm getting married. And then John drove himself crazy over it because he loved her and he lost her and he's sitting there drinking and driving and ends up going to jail. And then when Lacey finds out that he's, arrested, now she's crying and here's the waterworks. She feels so guilty. And I'm like, you should. Because if you are marrying the love of your life, your priority shouldn't have been to call this man. Now, I know you say you calling because you thought that Marlo was you know, his, and when y'all got the paternity results, you wanted to tell him. But honestly, you could have told that man when you was talking to Shane about it at the end of the last season. You called him to be petty because you still have feelings for him. And Shane, you are attracted to him sexually, clearly, but you don't really know this man. So this season, when it all blew up and she decided she didn't want to be with Shane anymore, she justified cheating on Shane with John. Not with somebody random, but with John, the same person that you know has caused a lot of drama in your life and drama in your relationship with Shane, just because he admitted that he cheated. Like, y'all are both not saints in this thing. So, you know, Lacey needs to figure out what she really wants. Shane and John are both handsome men that can do better than someone like Lacey, but I don't think they can see it at this point. I think that Shane is young enough to actually move on with his life and do better. And, you know, after being on this show and seeing how nice of a guy he is, I'm pretty sure there's going to be plenty of women that want to be with someone like Shane. Now, John is just in love with Lacey. So, I mean, his actions are not necessarily horrible, but it seems like he just needs to avoid doing things that's going to trigger him to use drugs, because he's going to be right back in jail. And then if he goes back to jail, I can see Lacey doing some similar stuff of trying to pursue somebody else. So overall, this season was very, you know, different. I do think that they picked the right couples to come along. I think the biggest thing in all of this is just, you know, making sure you do what's best for you long term, not like just what is in that moment. A lot of these people are acting off impulse and they're making decisions, i.e. marriage. Okay, we got 3 marriages on the show, but we're not together. We got Lacey and Shane married, but they're not together. You got Angela and Tony married, but they're not together. You got Megan and Michael married, but they're not together. Marriage is not something that you should play with. It's not something you should do as a ply for convenience, to look good on paper. It's just not something that you should take lightly. And I do see a lot of the people on the show getting married and then it just blows up. There are some successful marriages on the show as well, but again, y'all, it really just depends on the circumstance. It seems like the couples that have older people, i.e. Marcelino and Brittany — Marcelino is older — Lamar and Andrea, they seem to have a little more stability than these couples that are in their 20s. And they don't seem to know what they want. And I also think that, you know, a lot of the single moms that pursue these prison mate type relationships, they're doing it out of loneliness. Maybe they feel like they're not good enough to have somebody else, so they go and they look for a prison pen pal. Y'all, check out my playlist here on my channel. Got lots of videos about Bay in prison, because I was in that situation. I'm not in the situation anymore. But I think that this show is a great show to watch for someone that may consider doing this. It's a lot of drama. It's a lot of dramatization. You know, I'm pretty sure that the camera crew provides rides and hotels and all kinds of things that wouldn't happen in real life. But it's costly to support somebody in prison. There is always a chance that you're going to get played or lied to in some way, because unfortunately, a lot of the people that are in those situations are manipulative. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on the season. Who was your favorite couple or love triangle? And let's talk about it in the comments, y'all. I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye.